Making should not be this difficult. Firstly, I went to record, so I clicked the button and I was like, oh, hey guys, and then I'd just taken a picture of myself. And I have realised it's good to write notes, because I'll always put the camera on and try and review an episode that I can't actually remember properly, so I'm like, oh, yeah. But I have notes, so it's fine. So, Sherlock, Series 3, Episode 3, the last one in the series. And most people would probably disagree with me, but this was my least favourite, and I will explain why. Uh, it was just about pace. Because this episode jumped between different, like, periods of time and all of this, and it was just... you really had to concentrate to keep up with it. That was my only proper, like, annoyance with it, really. So we started off the episode with Charles, and he's a really interesting villain, because most villains that you get, like, you have villains like Moriarty and that people just kind of fall in love with, and people seem to really just actually like the villain and are disappointed when the villain's not in it. Whereas with Charles, he's the kind of villain that you're like, somebody just kill him, because you just hate him. But that I think that's a good thing, when a writer can really, really make you hate a bad guy. There was, obviously, you had the little things like him, like, peeing in their fireplace, and the whole sequence where he was just flicking John on the face, and you think this is like such a vile man. And then it was interesting because obviously, like, I for one fell for the whole he's got like high-tech glasses type thing. And it was just interesting how, as it progressed, you just saw that actually he's quite similar to Sherlock. The whole drug den sequence, John was just a badass in that sequence. And I've seen, like, some people quite upset. They were like, oh, Sherlock was clean, he was clean, he wasn't even on drugs. Well, he was, because, and I think it was a hint to the fact that Sherlock in the books had an opium addiction. So they just sort of modernised the fact that actually, yeah, Sherlock Holmes did sort of, dabble in drugs. But I think it was dealt with in quite a funny way. It could have been a lot darker, but... I've forgotten what his name is, but the one guy that they pick up when you see his deduction skills on John, I thought that was just so funny and quite random. The whole thing with Janine, with the bridesmaid, as soon as I saw her, I was like, yeah, there's no way Sherlock's just miraculously just been like, oh yeah, fuck it, I'll get a girlfriend. I was like, there's no way. And it was just funny how they both sort of used each other. The proposal thing, and I just knew straight away that it was, yeah, Sherlock being Sherlock. We had, obviously, the big twist. Now, there was me in my previous review banging on about how refreshing it was to have a leading female character that didn't have a dark past. And then I was like, oh, now that I've said that, I've, probably jinxed it, and I did, because she did indeed have a dark past, did our Mary. I wasn't that shocked. More kind of like one of those things where you're just willing it not to be a character, and then obviously when she turned round, I was like, fuck's sake. I thought the whole thing with her and John was just really interesting, because you really did sort of go through all the motions with John of him being very angry, and obviously her, and then finally when they made up at Christmas time, it was a very heart-wrenching moment. Excuse me. I've also realised characters like Mycroft, it's like all the characters just seem to have become a lot more lovable this series, and just, a lot more, yeah, sort of humanised, and a lot funnier, I think, really. Another interesting thing was the whole third brother I mean, from this episode, I've seen loads of things. Loads of people were like, "Oh, there's loads of Doctor Who references. Maybe like the Doctor had something to do with Sherlock, faking Sherlock's death," and I was just like, "That would be pretty cool," but I don't really see a Doctor Who Sherlock crossover, sadly. Um, but no, the third brother thing, it was interesting because this was something else people were talking about, was because Mycroft mentions the other one, and I thought that was like, I don't know if they're gonna do anything with that, or even if it may not even have been a hint to a third brother, so we'll just have to see if they do anything with that. And then this episode was mainly about shock value. Like, every event that seemed to happen made people be like, "What the fuck's going on?" When Sherlock just shot Charles in the face, I was quite happy. I was sort of like, "Yay!" But at the same time, I was like, it's just shocking, really, isn't it? Um, but yeah, that was just crazy. Obviously the ending, it came down to it, it looked like it was going to be a very sad ending, the fact that he basically looked like Sherlock was going to get sent off to his death. And I was just kind of like, but it was one of those endings where you think, well, if it ends like this, what the hell's going to happen? Because it felt like we were actually coming to the end of Sherlock, and I was just like, don't do this. And then obviously they dropped the bomb on us because Moriarty's back. Like, we all kind of said, we were all like, "Oh, he's not dead. We can't tell you how he faked it because we saw him shoot himself in the, in the face. But he's not dead." And the fact that he came back obviously turned everything around. And yeah, it was just absolutely brilliant. The whole sort of miss me thing. It was so simple, but I thought it was really good. So yeah, for this series, I would say this has probably been my favourite series so far. And yeah, we're just dying for series 4 now, because that's the thing, it's been 2 weeks, and Sherlock's been and gone, and then you've got to wait like pretty much a year for the next series. They should just put more episodes per series, personally. That's what I think. But yeah, that's it for this one. I've gotten through all my notes, and I every video I make just seems to go on forever, so I apologise for that. And anyone who does stick through till the end of these, thank you. So I shall see you in the next one.